Hey, what's up? It's Ambrose, and in this video, we're going to be talking about selling your company, and specifically whether selling the company is the right thing for you to do. We'll also talk about fundraising and how and when to raise money from angel investors or VCs, and depending on who you raise money from, how that will affect your possible exit opportunities. So right now, we're going to jump into a segment taken from Google's annual Black History Month event, featuring some young, inspirational tech founders, where a panel of people will discuss these issues. Enjoy.
Sorry, I missed your question.
Yeah. My question, Anthony, actually my question is to everyone, but no, on a real talk, everyone come approach me, I'd love to get you on my platform. Do you guys see yourself as success? Do you have exit strategies, or will you be doing this forever and ever and you won't ever retire from it?
Can I think you can go for it.
Oh. I've had this discussion with quite a few people about like, what's your exit strategy and all of that. And at the moment, how I feel is Kashmir is my baby. Like, I've built it from basically an idea in Harrods. And I have so many massive like dreams for it, in terms of like, I don't even just, I want to like, not just focus on fashion. Like, I want to go into like luxury travel and just basically the luxury industry in general for millennials. And just the thought of exiting that is just like, oh God, no, I don't want to do that. So for me, at this stage, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But for me personally, at this stage, like, I want it to be like a legacy. Like, I want this to be like something that I carry on for as long as I possibly can. And I don't know, who knows, you think about like people like Richard Branson and Bill Gates and stuff, like, they've been around for so long and they're still attached to like, the Microsoft and the Virgin, and that's kind of what I want to do for myself too. So, yeah.
I think it's important for, if you're running a startup, just have your mission to be aligned with kind of like your core team. And within FanBytes, so I think anyway, we all plan to exit. It's a... maybe. But I think, again, what's important is that you have an aligned mission with everyone. And I think so the reason why we kind of all plan to exit is, if you kind of think about it, we're doing right now, one of our USPs is the fact that we're also young. So like I'm the oldest person on my team. We're a team of like 8 now. And we're all about Snapchat. And we're saying, here's how you can engage with 13 to 25-year-olds. So I don't know if I was like 32 or something where I can still say, hey, we're doing Snapchat. It actually gives us an edge in the market to be kind of this young and do what we're doing. But from a kind of more personal point of view, I kind of think that for this, or especially me and my co-founder kind of had the same kind of reasons coming into this. And now we kind of just see this as a gateway to get the first win under our belt, so that with more capital and experience, we can go and do the next great thing. It is very scary to say, this thing that you invested all your time in, I'm going to pivot and like jump to something else later and just like sell it and leave it. But then I always trust in my abilities to go and do it again. And with all that experience, and I'll be a lot more investable. I'll be successful. We've raised around $500,000 to date, over I think three rounds. And thank you. And I think if we keep going the way we're going, then a sell would make sense. If not, then we would. I could see us turning this into like more of a media company where we kind of grow beyond 8 to like 50 employees and start to maybe raise a VC round. But if you are to raise a VC round, then you really are in for it for the long haul. So that's something you've got to bear in mind. We've done all of our fundraising through angels. It's just kind of a tactical thing. So anyway, if any of you are interested in more specifics on that, then on fundraising and whatnot, then I'll be happy to talk on the break.
Anyone else? No?
I personally, I don't see myself doing that. Like, I really liked what I do. So I can't see myself being like, bye to my baby. But like, I want to see it. I want it to grow old with me. And I can see myself working in the company till I'm like 80, 85. Maybe not as like involved, but I definitely want to be there throughout the whole journey. Like, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think, sorry. I'm a bit more pragmatic in, I guess, in the way I look at things, just because I did an MBA, and that, usually you say is a very bad thing for startups because you then examine everything. But, the way I look at it is, okay, you have your goal. What's my goal? Trying to, ensure that healthcare is a bit better in different parts of the world. I think that's the goal. I think there's different ways to reach that. If you look at it from VC's perspective, out of 10 companies, 1 will succeed, 9 will fail, or 19 will fail. So the odds are very bad in sort of the startup world. So you have to face that reality, and I face it. It might not work. So I think to some degree you have to be willing to kill your baby. In my opinion, if you're a physical baby, because you have a lot of legal issues. But I mean, I think you just have to be have that at the back of your mind. Of course, you do everything you can do to make it a success, but I think you always have to have at the back of your mind, look, will this work or not? And if it doesn't, then it doesn't mean you failed. It just means that maybe there's a different path. I mean, Google Maps, if you miss your turn, there's a different street. So I think you just always have to. Yeah, and I think it's the MBA. Sorry, but
I'm the wrong person to. I still love my day job, so I have to work that out before I can figure out exit. So I can't answer that. Sorry.
And I just want to kind of give a bit of insight into exit as well. So there are different types of exit. When we're looking at, as Ambrose said, you can have an exit which includes what we call an acqui-hire, which is like an acquisition where a company might buy your team. So for example, you've raised some angel investment and you get approached by a competitor or a big organization, and they want to buy your company as an acquisition. We're seeing that a lot more in the tech space. Big giants will want to buy the competition, right? You want to eat, you got to eat it, or it's going to kill you. We have this saying that's like, eat the competition. So you'll have a lot of exits that happen in early stage venture, normally pre-venture capital. Because it's easier to arrange an exit when you haven't had venture capital. Venture capital is a much longer stint, and then you're looking at perhaps a 10x return on investment. But having said that, if your company, depending on what the investors are going to decide, they're going to exit for you. So I had a colleague who was doing really, really well in an e-commerce business. He got approached by an organisation who wanted to buy him. His investors, his VC, said, "Absolutely no way. We're not going to let you get acquired." And actually, that was a massive, massive mistake on their part, because what happened is huge competitors came into the market, and now they're kind of just plateauing. So that can happen when you're chained to a VC. So you've got to bear that in mind, that the VCs, the people, the shareholders in your company are going to make those decisions, but normally they're looking at a 10x return. And your fund can be from between 7 to 10 years. When you're looking at acquisition, though, you don't have to necessarily think, okay, well, if you're not raising venture, an acquisition can look like an organisation buying you and your team. So we call that like an acqui-hire, where your skills, your resources within the team, if you have a really strong team, a company will purchase your product and bring you on board into the company, potentially looking at scaling you out. So that's more of a realistic exit that we're looking at within the first sort of 3 to 5 years. That's an early exit. Those exits are great for first-time entrepreneurs. I personally would love to do an exit like that. If someone like Google or Facebook approaches a company like, you've got the Netflix. Mark always talks about Netflix. But, these companies approach these companies and say, Blockbuster, and go, look, listen, we've got a dope product. This is the future. Buy us now. Otherwise, we're going to eat you. Or we're going to try and eat you. And it's that kind of thing. So there's a lot of bargaining conversations to be had at the early stages. Once you've got product, there's no reason why, if that's part of your strategy, you can't go and have a conversation. I've been contacted by companies in America about early acquisition. And it's kind of like, come on board, we're building this. This is part of our strategy. Why not we buy your technology? So you've got to think about that and positioning yourself for exit early, and actually understanding positioning yourself as a business to understand who are those potential acquirers. Because realistically, a lot of us won't make it to beat the competition. You need a huge amount of capital to do that. So being smart as an entrepreneur is also looking at aligning yourself to be, acquired by a really awesome competitor. So you go on to your next project.
Number 10. Pardon? He's Ghanaian.